Viper number 3. Make sure you've got the course properly laid in. We want this rocket to strike at the 18th hole. No particular reason, just because we're cruel. Hello viewers, Larry the Dinosaur Penguin here. And we're taking a look at our final release for the Cobra Convergence this year. And we have the last and one of the more better known exclusive vehicles for the Crimson Guard, the S.M.S, Sentry and Missile System. These were both a Sears exclusive in 1985 and they were sold together. You got a red HISS tank and a red and black M.M.S, Mobile Missile System. Now, while the lore doesn't go into too much detail, there is some explanation in some that says that the HISS tank was commissioned for the Crimson Guard. More than likely, the M.M.S was made from the S.M.S's missile system, was made from captured M.M.S units that were abandoned by G.I. Joe on the battlefield. Hence probably why, in more modern times, we've seen more done like this rather than the G.I. Joe version. Although supposedly we're getting one of those this year as well in classified scale. Big missiles. Now we're starting to sound like the 90s again. Alright, let's separate these out and we're going to take a look at each one individually. Now, first up here we have is the Sentry portion. This is a modified HISS tank, which is a uniquely built tank for Cobra. Supposedly, after Cobra Commander made his deal with Destro to allow him to be allied with the organization, Cobra Commander had Destro's Mars company build unique tanks that would be uniquely Cobra. And what we got was the HISS tank. HISS is an acronym for High Speed Sentry. And a normal HISS tank can get up to 90 miles an hour, which is pretty fast for a tank. Although there are modern tanks in real life that can go over 100, so the HISS is not the fastest, but in essence, just about anything it can't outgun, it can probably outrun. Now, of course, since these are for the Crimson Guard, they've likely been modified. They probably have a bigger horsepower engine, so it wouldn't surprise me if they could get closer to 100. HISS tanks are also known to be easy to repair in the battlefield. So if you find a bunch that are damaged, Cobra troopers can cobble them together into forming at least one working vehicle. As Canadian comic Red Green once said about poor traveling, fourth class riding beats first class walking. If you got a long distance to cover, I'd probably rather ride on a barely together HISS tank than walk. Remember, penguins don't walk very fast. Now, of course, the tank only has the one weapon up here, and this is modified. These are supposedly twin synchronized EER-8 laser-seeking anti-tank launchers. So this one is definitely a menace on the battlefield. Unfortunately, it still has the glass canopy that most of the fans hate. But we can beat the one thing on the rail HISS. The toy had fake treads and some bogey wheels to drive on. This one has real treads. And as you can see, she does drive on them. Now, who should drive this toy? Well, when it was released, it did not come with any figures. All you had was a Crimson Guard guy, or you could put Tomax and Zaymot on it. But we, through our research, we found another pilot. Bring out the special pilot, boss. Pick the pilot off the floor, boss. Let's try this again, boss. That's better. What we have here is a Lego version of the Baroness. Apparently sometime in the 2000s era, she allied herself with the Crimson Guard, using her abilities to brainwash some Viper troopers to come with her, thus manipulating as well the Crimson Guard and their leaders to suit her goals. Now, while we haven't drawn on any of the details of her armor, see earlier videos, we're not going to repeat it, we did make sure to get her a pair of twin Uzis, like the toy comes with. And of course, she can fit in the canopy. She basically just lays down in it. There isn't quite enough room for a figure to sit standing up, but this works just as well. Now we need a guy to sit in the gunner's seat. And for that we have a Crimson Viper. He also has a special backpack meant to reminisce the original toy's backpack. Let's get one of the regulars out here. As you can see, we've equipped them with a gun that's sort of in spirit to what they carried. Their file card mentioned that they carried a assault rifle with grenade launcher. And while their weapon was fictionalized, we found something that's reasonably close. Plus, they also had a backpack that could carry a hand grenade. So, for the one we're going to put in the gunner's seat, he's holding his grenade like he can go throw it aside. And he's got his rifle stored on his backpack. Just bend him at the knee, bend him at his waist, and in he goes. The turret does rotate all the way, and the guns are independently elevating. Unlike the real toy, but that can't be helped. Plus, there is cargo capacity for at least one guy to be on here. The problem is he's got to be pretty stooped over due to the backpack. Viper number 3, you have no idea how silly you look standing there like that. It would almost make me think he's getting motion sickness. Keep it to yourself. Alright, let's take a look at the missiles. And here we have a mobile missile system done up in Cobra colors of black and red. Instead of blue and red, I know. That's just how they did it, folks. Well, in all, this is a setup that's frequently mocked by the fandom, especially since it's only got 3 shots. And then there's no way to reload it in the field. It has to be hitched back up to a vehicle and towed back to base to be reloaded. Sort of like the Hailfire droid they used in the Star Wars prequels. It was a missile droid and it carried 30 missiles. And if it ran out, it had to go back to base to get more. Although they apparently later designed it a reload droid that could bring it a fresh rack of missiles. Thus meaning it didn't have to come back every time. A little far-fetched for our purposes. But at any rate, more than likely, some of these units were abandoned due to the amount of time it would take to hook the unit up to a vehicle to be towed. And in the middle of an intense battle, you don't get that as a luxury. You can't just sit there and go, oh, sorry, Mr. Bad Guy, can you give us 20 minutes to reload get this thing loaded up? Seriously. But at any rate, we got a little guy down here with the computer. The original toy had a cable that would hook the two units together. I'm sure we could have gotten a Lego string piece to do that, but I think it works better without it. An M.S. only needs one man to operate it, but as you can see, he's standing out in the open here. Which is probably another reason why it's not popular. Needs one to operate, but you need probably 3 or 4 more guys to hook it up to hook it up to a Jeep. Silly. But at any rate, you can sit there and program it. The launcher does rotate. And it elevates. And it is armed here with 3 heat-seeking missiles. It's often known as a heat-seek missile system on modern toys. I wonder where they got that from. But at any rate, like the original toy, it can be hooked up to the trailer. First, we get our Crimson Guard guy out of the way. Remove the computer from the stand. Put the computer right down here, right behind the tow hitch. The stand can be inserted between the back legs, and it connects to a stud. You just got to get it lined up properly, because it's very easy to miss. Especially since the boss has got fat fingers there. There we go, now we got it. Then the back legs just need to be folded up. And then you just fold up the front legs. And then now it has enough ground clearance to bring our tank back in, and we just connect. And we're ready to roll. Now granted, this is not a favorite for everybody, but it is still an impressive looking little set. And done here in Lego form, you gotta admit folks, it does look pretty awesome like this. And then when you add to it that the boss did make some Crimson Vipers to help accompany it, we're ready to go invade a small area. That is, provided, of course, our men can stand upright. So, we hope that all of you have enjoyed our videos this month. Sparkster 1701 will return next week, where he will review some Transformers again. We got the last of the Legacy United figures we're going to track down. And we've started in on the Age of Primes, the new wave. Finally, we're able to find some. So he'll be back next week to cover those. So, it has been a pleasure being with all of you this month. Please do remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our videos. And this has been Larry the Dinosaur Penguin saying catch you all later. Cobra!